Hi, this is Melanie Clark-Pullen and Strut and Bellow. This is our live Friday shout out. And this morning I'm speaking with Tara Doolan. Welcome, Tara. Tara,
Hi.
an up and coming director in theatre and film, based in Dublin, or based wherever the work is, I guess, is it?
Yeah, pretty much, but from the west of the country.
From the west of Ireland. And Tara's latest project is a new play called Punt, and it's going to be on in the new theatre in Dublin in Temple Bar, starting on the 2nd of July, running for two or 3 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So Tara, now we have a mutual friend in common. It's Kirsten, who put us in contact, and she's an amazing advocate of women in the arts. So as soon as she said, you got to talk to this girl, I was like, yes. So tell us a little bit about you're from the West. How did you come into this line of work? And then we'll get on to the play in a little bit, but tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I came into working in the arts when I was in college in Mary I. At that point, there wasn't a drama course there. There is now, and it's been fantastic for the local community. But there was a really active drama society. So we were really fortunate that we had some really positive influences there. I was heavily involved, and then somebody offered me a paying job to be a stage manager on a summer show. And I kind of went, wait a minute, you're going to pay me to do this? So the second they told me that, I was sold. They had me straight away. I was like, I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be working in the arts, telling stories, hopefully. So that's how I ended up here.
Right. And this particular project, this is your own company, is that right?
That's right. So myself and my partner, Pius McGrath, set up Honest Arts while I was doing my final year in Mary I to take one of our first shows, The Midnight Cowboy, to Edinburgh. We were both going to go, and we said, well, let's just bring a show and see how it works and figure it out, So we did that, and we realised that there was actually a bit of demand. We're both technicians.
Oops, sorry, excuse me, beg your pardon, that's a call coming in. Sorry, go on.
That's all right. So yeah, we formed the company, and we were able to have one part of our income revenue coming from doing events and production work on other shows and design work, and then that was able to fund us to create our own work, which has worked out quite well so far, thankfully.
Brilliant. So what was Edinburgh like? Because I know my friend Noni took Charolais to Edinburgh, and it's pretty, and I know a few people have done it. It's an intense experience. How did you find it?
That first time around, it was unbelievable. I really couldn't get over it. We kind of always described it as a bear pit when you're on the Royal Mile that first time out. You don't know what's going on. There's people selling you shows. You get caught up on that one.
Oh, just hold on one sec. Sorry, Tara, you broke up there.
So we were like, no problem.
Sorry, so you were breaking up. You're getting a little bit pixelated there. Sorry, can you just go back and just say that last little bit, just in case we missed it? You're about Edinburgh. Okay, now, sorry, go ahead.
Get in. Great for us the first time there, and we've been back, I think, every second year since, whether it was with somebody else's shows or with their own work.
Brilliant. And do you have Honest Arts is an interesting name for a company. Do you have a remit or something that you're specifically focused on in creating work? Is there something that drives the work that you create, or are you, where's it coming from?
We like to focus on what is happening in society today and what kind of social issues people are dealing with on a daily basis. So, I mean, our second production, Waiting in Line, that one was to do with the social welfare system, and that was just kind of examining how people from every single class, particularly just coming out of recession Ireland, were affected by the universal excuse me, somebody just after walking into the room. So it's basically how everybody is affected by how the social welfare system was being run.
Yeah.
So that was one production. We want to just tell a story that has a universal message and an Irish base, really.
Right.
Is kind of where we work out of.
So just tell us a little bit about Punt. Punt has got the issue of gambling at its heart. What's the story around this play?
Well, the story is very much about a person. His name is Jack, and we follow his story. So while gambling is at the story, it's very much a personal coming of age and discovery story based in and roots, kind of very much grounded in the base of his story. So while gambling is something that affects him, it's about mental health, it's about relationships, it's about isolation, it's about some wonderful times that we all have as kids at the races as Irish.
Yeah. Yeah, and so Jack is, what's the story? So Jack is kind of caught up in this, or sorry, I'm getting calls from all kinds of places. Sorry, go ahead. So tell us more about Jack then. What happens to Jack?
So without giving everything away, Jack is a normal kid and lives his life, but he's very much very.
Oh, I've lost the connection, Tara. Sorry, you've frozen.
In a small town Ireland, and about that relationship and how that guides him, and how when he goes off to college he just gets a little bit lost, and the effect then and the fallout that has on his home.
Yeah.
As a result.
Yeah. Yeah, and so this isn't a new, this is a new piece, but this isn't the first time this has been out shown to people, is it?
No, so in 2016 we did a showing of this piece in the Limerick Fringe. Sorry, 2017 we did a showing of it in the Limerick Fringe, and that was received really well. So that was really low tech, lo-fi, easy going. Get the story out there and see how people respond to it. And we had some really strong and positive responses out of that. So we decided that we would pursue it further, at which point we began working with Gavin Costick in Fishamble at their new play clinic. And he really helped us to mold that story to something more than we ever anticipated it could be.
That's brilliant.
For that, we were invited to perform in the Bell Table, which is actually where I am right now, because we're rehearsing in new studios, which are fantastic.
That's great.
So we brought it here, and we did a full-scale production here a few months ago, and we did a tour of the west of Ireland then in Monaghan, and really gave it a run out and got to really find its feet, because it's the one show that is so essential to get to play it to audiences and really feel what they're reacting, and allow the actor time to, relate to the audience as well.
Yeah, that's one of the hard things about theatre that happens in this country. I think you don't get a long run.
No.
In England or in London, when I was working in the theatre in London, you had a couple of months to really kind of figure out, because you do a certain amount of figuring out, obviously, in rehearsal, but then once you're up and running, there's new, and you're dealing with the energy from the audience, and there's new things. So what has the reaction been from audience members? Has it changed as it's been on the road?
Absolutely. I mean, it's certainly even allowed us to find colour in the show that we didn't realise was there, just based on how people relate to something that we thought was quite small, but actually really affects people in the audience.
Yeah.
We were putting in build character, the audience character, and it hit them harder than in the very early days. We might lose them for a beat, and you kind of realize, okay, that's actually unnecessary now. They picked up on that already. The work has already done that, so we can move past it. So certainly it has helped us to hone the piece, and coming back into rehearsals now after a few months away from it, to be able to bring that experience into this and then do a 2-week run in Dublin is just such a luxury for us.
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. And have you plans to take it beyond Dublin then?
That would be the hope. So this is quite a tourable show. We certainly considered that, though it didn't define how we created the show. We definitely considered it in how we built the show. so that it is something that can be toured. And, you know, it's a country of one night stands, unfortunately, just with regards to audience space and scheduling and budget and all of the rest of that. Yeah. So it's something that can go up and down in one day, which is great. And we can get it to a very high standard. So hopefully that will help us tour it quite highly.
That's really, really great. Now you're also working in the film industry. How that's two very different disciplines. Do you have a? I mean, I'm always being asked, do I have a preference for theatre or TV or film? But and I don't really. They're two very, very different things. What about you? How do you find working in the two different disciplines?
Well, I agree that they're completely separate.
Yeah.
Can apply to theatre that you can take with you to film, and vice versa, that work really well once you understand the language with which to apply it. But you couldn't possibly pick between the two because they're so different and they both have so many amazing things going on with them. But the one thing that you will never get in film is that experience of sitting with an audience and sharing in watching and having your laughs affect the performance on stage, or your silence bring out something from that actor live. So that's certainly something that is unique when you go to a theatre, to see a piece of work and hear a story.
That's the thing that I find as I've got older, because I was kind of enthralled to the whole kind of film and TV world, the immediacy of the connection, the chance to try things and do things again and do things differently on set, but then you actually have no control after that as to what the audience sees, because it's the director and the editor who are choosing the different takes. And yeah, it's really been brought home to me in the last number of years. Is just, I think we've forgotten how powerful theatre can be, and how strong having a person on stage telling a story and allowing an audience to fill in the gaps and create the pictures around it. I think, we do. I think there's been a little bit of a, I don't know what you feel about this, but there's been a bit of a push in the theatre towards making things spectacular, when actually the simplicity can be even more powerful than anything.
Absolutely. And I think the one thing that stands for both, if you have a strong script, you can tell your story. And I think ultimately it comes back to having a script that you really believe in and that is really strong. I mean, if you have a script in film or TV, you can shoot it on an iPhone and people will still be into us having such a strong story. If you've got a performance to back that up, you have another level, and the rest is bells. I think the same certainly goes for theatre. Yes, it can help when you've got certain things to help a story along in theatre, special effects or a big set. But if you've got a really good story, you should be able to strip all of that away and put a chair on a stage and still be able to tell your story.
Absolutely. I have got somebody at my door. just stay with me for 1 second. No. I think I can leave that. Don't know who it is. This is the beauty of working from home. Somebody calling in. It'll be one of my friends now, sort of texting me going, "I called in." Sorry about that, Tara. So tell us what's next for you moving forward. You've got Punt for 2 weeks in the new theatre in Dublin, and then what's your plans after that? Or are you just taking a bit of a break, because it sounds like it's been pretty hectic?
It has been an incredibly hectic, I would say, 5 years at this point. But
you need a holiday.
Yeah, a holiday is certainly in the cards for some time in the autumn, but I'm going straight into directing a theatre production of Coriolanus. That'll be on in Limerick, and then we start our company are designing for Sonia, which is Callback Theatre Company's new play, which is about Sonia O'Sullivan. So we'll be opening that in the Everyman in Cork in October. So that's the next two projects, and hopefully then a little holiday.
That'll be great. That'll take you a bit of time. And any more TV work or plans on that, or are you just going to fit that in where and if?
Well, I would certainly look to going back towards that. We're actually doing a short film slash 20-minute sitcom pitch at the very end of August, which we're going to do over a weekend with a really great script that two friends of ours have put together.
Great.
So we will see what happens with that. And
Great.
if we were to get a TV show back in Troy's studios again, or anywhere locally, I would certainly love to go back into it. I have a lot more to learn, and there's a lot of really interesting things going on with that as well.
Yeah, and it's nice to have like an emerging woman director as well in this field. How are you finding? How are you finding as a woman moving up in this field? Is it supportive, tricky, difficult in terms of comparing with other male colleagues?
Well, I have certainly found that it takes a little bit longer, but that there are certainly some really amazing champions out there for young women, some women and some men. I mean, the team of Fishamble have been incredibly supportive since I've gotten to know them and started working with them. Even out in Troy Studios, there certainly was a bit of the Weinstein effect in that, for many of the meetings, just as an assistant, you'd be the only girl in the room just by chance, and they would very much be saying, we're going to change that. And people are very much trying to see how they can help women, because we just need a little bit more of a push, because we're not part of the boys club, and
the boys club still exists.
It does. I think there are some really amazing men that are part of the boys club that are trying to open the door. I certainly think that's happening, and I feel supported by nearly everybody I come in contact with. But there's always one or two that just make life a little bit difficult, and then that's part of becoming stronger and, I suppose, better equipped to dealing with the world, is learning how to deal with that as well.
Yeah. There's probably there's good networks as well for women in TV and film. Are you part of any kind of networks, or have you found support in the arts, in women's groups or anything?
Well, I have to say, being a little bit removed from Dublin certainly does make that harder, as a lot of those groups happen to be Dublin-centric, because that's where the most of the population is.
Yeah.
But I certainly do think that there's an unspoken network of women around Munster that support each other constantly in any way, and there's always a few phone numbers that I can pick up and make a phone call to if I have a question or need supported, though not in a direct group.
I know, and it's exciting. I mean, there's so much stuff happening along the West Coast, and so many exciting artists. I know a couple of artists up in Sligo and down towards Clare, and there's a vibrancy, in that area, which probably it does get sidelined because Dublin is so kind of the centre of the universe. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting. Like, I've just moved away. I've moved up here to the north of Ireland, and there is life outside of Dublin, strangely enough.
Yeah. There certainly is, but there is there's an audience base in Dublin. There's merit and reason for it, obviously, and it's been wonderful to have the opportunity to go and work in Dublin on a project I'm really excited about, and then to come away home and to be able to work with some really great people at home as well.
That's great. You've got the best of both worlds. Yeah, that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Well, Tara, I really wish you all the best. Where should we direct people to get tickets to the new show?
If you go to the New Theatre website, you'll be able to get tickets to our new show. If you're interested in Honest Arts, we're at Honest Arts on Twitter, and we're on Facebook as well as Honest Arts CO. You'll be able to find us there, and we'll keep you up to date with whatever's going on.
Fantastic. I'll put all these links on my webpage, on the strutandballo.com website. You'll be able to find all the links later on this afternoon. But for now, Tara, thank you, and wishing you all the very best with Punt, and look forward to maybe seeing it up here sometime. Hope that works.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks for everything.
Take care. Thanks a million, Tara. God bless. Bye.